Hello, hello. Namaste and good morning to all. बुद्धि युक्तो जहाति उभे सुकृत दुष्कृते तस्माद् योगाय युज्यस्व yoga karmasu kaushalam. It means a man engaged in devotional service rights himself of both good and bad activities, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. We, Siddhartha and Monisha, welcome you all in the prestigious moment when IIT Kharagpur inaugurates 9th All India Students Conference on Science and Spiritual Quest AISSQ 2015.
Now, I would like to take this privilege to thank all the high dignitaries on the table. His Excellency Shri Keshrinath Tripathi, the Governor of West Bengal, Professor Shovik Bhattacharya, Acting Director, IIT Kharagpur, Shri K. Vasudev Rao, President, Bhaktivedanta Institute, Kolkata, Dr. B.D. Mundra, Managing Director, Simplex Infrastructures Limited, Dr. H.P. Kanodia, Chairman and Managing Director, SREI Infrastructure Finance Limited, His Holiness Shri Nirmalan Nath Mahaswamiji, Professor K.L. Chopra, Padma Shri, Ex-Director, IIT Kharagpur, Shri Rajendra Das, Ilyas Varun Agarwal, Conference Chairman, AISSQ 2015, Professor Sudipta Ghosh, Organizing Secretary, AISSQ 2015.
Now, before proceeding further, I would like to call upon all the high table dignitaries to pay homage to Dr. T.D. Singh, His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami, Founder Director Bhaktivedanta Institute and visionary of the AISSQ series, and His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Founder Acharya, Bhaktivedanta Institute.
Now, I would call upon the school children for the invocation prayer.
We are going to recite the Brahma slokas of Brahma Samhita, which are prayers offered by Lord Brahma to Govinda. Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anade Radhe Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Ishara Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anade Radhe Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Prakara Sadmasu Kalpa Vriksha Laksha Viteshu Shurabhe Ravipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrahma Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kvanantam Aravinda Dalayakaksham Garhavatam Samasitamudam Sundarangam Gandharpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandra Kalasadvanamanya Vamshi Ratnangadam Pranaya Kelikala Vilasam Shyamam Tribhangalalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujjvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayauvanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitavish Tavirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabhi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santah Sadeva Vigreshu Vilokayanti Yam Shyama Sundara Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Murti Shukala Niyamena Tishnan Nanavataram Akarot Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavet Karamah Punaryo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Shrishti Sthiti Pradaya Sarana Sakhirekha Chaiva Yasya Bhuvanani Vivarti Durga Icchanurupam Apiyasya Chakeshatesha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Shriya Kantaha Kantaha Parama Purusha Kalpatarao Durma Gumish Chintamani Ganamayi Toryam Amritam Katha Ganam Natyam Gamanam Api Kamshi Priyasaki Siddhanandam Yogi Paramapi Kadaswatyam Api Cha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Thank you.
Now, the children will be honoring the dignitaries with flower bouquets. His Excellency Shri Keshwanath Tripathi, Professor Shavik Bhattacharya, Shri K. Vasudev Rao, Dr. B.D. Munda, Dr. H.P. Kanoria, His Holiness Shri 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 Nirmalanath Mahaswamiji, Professor K.L. Chopra, Shri Varun Agarwal, Professor Sudipto Ghosh,
Science is a systematic knowledge derived from hypothesis, and spirituality can be thought of as the final distilled essence of all religious principles. Undoubtedly, science has made tremendous progress and helped humanity in many ways. However, the progress of spiritual understanding in relation to deeper, internal and eternal aspects of reality has not been so rapid of mark. With these words, I take this privilege to call upon Sri Varun Agrawal, Chairman AISSQ 2015, to welcome the gathering and to introduce the conference visionary and the conference. Thank you so much.
वासुदेव परावेदा वासुदेव परामखा वासुदेव परं ज्ञानम् वासुदेव परामखा वासुदेव परो योगा वासुदेव परातपः वासुदेव परातपः वासुदेव परातपः. His Excellency Shri K.N. Tripathi ji, our Honorable Governor of the state, His Holiness Shri Nirmalanath Mahaswamiji, Shri Mundra ji, Shri Kanoria ji, Professor Chopra, Professor Bhattacharya ji, my brother Brajapati Swami ji, Dr. Sudipto Ghosh, all the distinguished speakers and guests, Professor P. Sharma, Professor Vikrama Singhe, Professor Benji Mueller, and all of you. Keynote speakers of the conference, various student participants, press and media, IIT Kharagpur faculties and staff members, and all my brothers and sisters assembled here. On behalf of the organizing committee of the conference, of the Bhakti Institute, we welcome you all to the 9th All India Students Conference on Science and Spiritual Quest, to be being held here at IIT Kharagpur. Professor Subhash Mishra, because of health factors, could not attend the conference, and hence I have been requested to act on his behalf. Let me share with my heart that to see all of you, in fact, in the morning when I came, my really heart is filled with joy and satisfaction. So many distinguished brothers and sisters coming from various parts of the country and outside India for this cause of integration of science and spirituality. A vision envisioned and started by great visionaries and our spiritual master a long time ago. Dr. T.D. Singh, whose pictures you see here, and who is the founder director of the Institute, Bhakti Institute, and Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the Institute, who are also with us today. They must be very pleased to see you all who are continuing to realize their desires and vision. This series, which is the 9th today, was started actually in Vrindavan in 2005. Dr. Singh started this, envisioned this, and by his blessings and dedicated efforts of all my brothers and sisters, and because of kind support and deep love of all of you for us, this has been continuing. After Vrindavan, we had this conference in Puri, then in Tirupati in association with TTD, then NIT Tiruchirappalli, then MNIT Allahabad, then Delhi Technical University, Professor Sharma, and then IISc Bangalore, and today we are here at IIT Kharagpur. In fact, I wanted to share with you one thing. I just returned a week back from the Parliament of World Religions held at Salt Lake City in Utah in the United States. It was a wonderful event. There were 10,000 scholars, religious leaders from all over the world, from 70 countries assembled there. And it was really heartening to see that so many brothers and sisters from all over the globe. And after interacting with them, one thing I felt deeply in my heart, which I wanted to share with you and say is a good news for all of us. India is still the cradle of human civilization. You see, this, besides our economic, social, political, technological, and scientific progress of our country, but the spiritual wisdom which everybody looks for, the people whom we met there, whomsoever we met, oh, are you from India? And then they ask inquiring questions about spirituality, about how to go about it. So much curious, and is an inbuilt faith in the people in the world on this planet that India is a storehouse of spirituality. Seeing them, I realize what treasure we have. Really, we have tremendous treasure. It seems now that time has come to unleash the treasure we have. World needs it today more than it was any time necessary. And duty to do this lies in each one of us. That's why we are assembled here today. So either you go from the basic sciences, you go into physics, you go into biology, into mathematics. Of course, you can go further into properly in quantum mechanics, in the neuroscience, in the developments. Either you go in that side where we are facing tremendous dead ends in the basic foundations of sciences, or you go from the practical side, the students, the mind, the focus of mind, the satisfaction of the heart. Either you go from either of this side, science and spirituality are necessary for integration. That's what is the need of the hour today. I'm reminded of the nice words our former President of India, Srimati Pratibha Patil, told us in our 2000 conference in Delhi, that science can transplant the heart, but you need spirituality to transform the heart. So you will be delighted to know that to do this, there are interesting developments in our travel we found. In the universities around the world, now there are centers. For example, Center for Mindfulness. in the University of California, San Diego. There is a Center for Compassion. This word mindfulness has become very prominent in the West today. There is a Center for Compassion and Altruism in Stanford University. There is a Center for Greater Good called Greater Good in the University of California, Berkeley. Tremendous centers are being opened. These concepts, which were once a part of spirituality or religious traditions, they are now being explored and entered in the academic curriculum. I was very happy. I'm very happy to see the development of these aspects today coming. So probably now the time is now coming that we too in India start these types of centers in all the universities and institutes of our country after the successful yoga day by the current leaders. These centers are completely secular and purely non-religious. They have proper academic study as well as practices, research, PhD scholars, all these centers, and tremendous centers. So this was already envisioned by our founder, Dr. Singh, His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami, where he mentioned that understanding deeper meaning of life and existence, interdisciplinary studies will come one day. And in that interdisciplinary studies, besides having from exploration from various disciplines of science, spirituality will also be a major partner. And I see today that's already started happening. Happy to note that these welcome developments and his vision manifesting today. So you will now witness and participate in various areas of integration of science and spirituality in various plenary and parallel sessions lined up in next 3 days. Our warm welcome to all you once again in this beautiful journey of in-depth discussions and sharing. I pray that the Lord, who is sitting in your heart, inspires you to absorb more and more in your life's journey. Thank you.
Dhanyavad Swamiji for your kind address. Now I take the honor to call Professor Shouvik Bhattacharya, Acting Director, IIT Kharagpur, for the welcome address.
Honorable Governor Sri Kesharinath Tripathi, Sri Vasudev Rao, our own Professor K. Chopra, Sri Brajendra Das, Dr. Mundra, Dr. Kanoria, His Holiness Nirmalanandanath Mahaswamiji, and Professor Sudipta Ghosh. Dear delegates, my dear colleagues, students, research scholars, members of the press, officials of the state administration, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to IIT Kharagpur. It's my proud privilege to welcome you all to this campus, to this largest and the oldest and still the most diverse IIT. Good morning. Namaskar to you all as well. IIT Kharagpur is very proud to host this event, this very interesting. We say that the interfaces are more interesting today than the core. All the studies, all the research. So this is an interface. So interfacial studies are more challenging, but you have to be strong at the core to work at the interface, I believe. So this is good. We encourage this, and I hope we take a lot of learning, a lot of takeaways from this debate, from this discussion. This is a absolutely august assembly. I've gone through the list of speakers and participants, and we sincerely hope that people get enriched completely, and there is a percolating effect all around. Let me share, because I believe there are a large number of individuals here who are our guests, who many of you probably are visiting IIT Kharagpur for the first time. So I'll spend a couple of minutes on sharing a bit of info and stats on our institute. So as you know, 1951 we started as the first IIT, but today it has grown, still the largest. So I say this is this 21 phenomenon. We have 2,100-acre campus and 21,000 people on campus live 24/7, out of which residents of campus, out of which about 11,300 students, in our dormitories and hostels. We have over 1,500 girl students, about 625 faculty members. So it's a large community, large family. It's all self-contained. Sometimes we jokingly say that apart from electricity, it is true. Apart from electricity, we produce everything. We manage everything, including the electricity. So it's like running a smallish, mid-sized town, apart from running the academics and the research. Our director, Professor Parthapatim Chakraborty, is not able to be here today on some medical emergency, but feel free to meet him tomorrow if you feel like. And I hope that you are able to get some time out of the conference and see our campus a little bit if you are able to. Please let us know if you need any support. We'll be very happy to extend all that support that you need during your short stay here. IIT Kharagpur, these days a lot of talk about what IITs have been doing, etc. But Kharagpur has been focused on the core very much. It is the most diverse. It has the largest number of departments and schools and centers amongst the IITs. There are some unique offerings, academic units, which no other IIT has, or many. So IIT Kharagpur probably is more like a university amongst the IITs, more so in recent times. We have moved into areas like medical science and technology. We are constructing a large specialized hospital to move into medical education. We are getting in there. And we have a law school of intellectual property law. We were the first IIT to start a school of management. Every other IIT followed, including IISc Bangalore. So Kharagpur also has this flavor of pioneering activities, starting something first amongst the technical institutes in this country. Kharagpur has been known for rock solid teaching quality. We believe the classroom is the place where we start. It has got to be exciting and stimulating for our students. So we try new ways and means to inject that learning. We still believe that what I do as a teacher is not important if it is not useful for the students. So there has to be strong learning. We believe in that and we follow that path, we follow that principle. Kharagpur has been undertaking research, of course, research as it's manifested in terms of peer-reviewed journal publications and sponsored projects, etc. That's one aspect. But lately, I would say more so lately, in recent times, we have focused more on the nation-building aspect. Kharagpur is extremely focused on the country, India as a nation, in terms of doing things, translational research, which we are able to see the end effect, the percolating effect on ground. Kharagpur is also involved as a lead institute for lots of very large mega projects which are happening at the national level, amongst the sort of a pan-IIT approach. So I won't go into the details. Kharagpur has taken up about a year back several grand challenge projects. I'll name a few: Future of Cities, Signals and Systems in Life Sciences, Science and Heritage. It's a fantastic interface project which has some interface with the content of this conference. As a matter of fact, as we speak, right now the workshop and annual review of the Future of Cities is going on in a couple of other conference halls. And there is another event going on right now as we speak. The Space Technology Society, the annual meet is going on. A large number of about 700 students are attending from across the country. So Kharagpur remains vibrant. It's a big student body. And I'm glad that we are hosting all of you. And let me share some of my personal feelings. Of course, I wouldn't dare comment any scholarly thing about this event, but this core topic, these science and spirituality, they're extremely critical. They play very critical roles in our life, and particularly amongst the minds of the students. I think it has to have a wonderful role to play, because in recent times we see signs of intolerance in behavior which is deviating from what's expected, what's normal, what's desirable. So there, I think it has a wonderful balming effect, enriching effect, and deep knowledge effect. Spirituality in education, what I do, the connect between the student as a teacher, the honesty, and I can't pretend in the classroom. That's something, personally what we follow, the quality of life that I pursue, as do I reflect as a role model to my students? All those issues, come rushing to me as a teacher, and I think it's important to me as a teacher, as a person, and this deep connection between the student and the teacher and the subject, that itself, I think, is an intellectual, spiritual issue to ponder over. Many grapple with this true sense of spirituality. I wouldn't get into the deep sense, but in my own simplistic vision, I think that it's very personal. Spirituality is not the institution; it's the personal aspect. It's not what we do with others; it's what we do within. I think that's very the way I look at it. It's what I do within. It's so to speak, it's the private faith, not the public one, maybe in my own way of looking at it. And if I put it in a very different structure, it's possibly the heart, not the head. And I think it's the vital energy that creates the meaning in our lives. So, as I said, it's a wonderful August assembly over 3 days. I hope the enriching effect percolates down to various levels so that we all, simple people, we all get the benefit. Thank you very much once more for being here. Once again, welcome to IIT Kharagpur. Let's make a brighter future, better future for our children together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Bhattacharya. Scientific and religious paths are like two streams of the creative human mind. In a deeper sense, both scientists and spiritualists are engaged in search of ultimate meaning of life and of the universe. The scientific part tries to explain the nature of reality with rationality, whereas the spiritual part does so within and beyond rationality. However, there is a common principle found in both, which is called faith. So we have to have faith on both science and spirituality. With these words, I would like to invite Sri K. Vasudev Rao, President Bhaktivedanta Institute, Kolkata, to throw some light on Bhaktivedanta Institute.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्। परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृताम् धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे। Honorable dignitaries on the dais and dear delegates, A 70-year-old monk who is born in this very land of Bengal. He was giving a lecture at MIT in Boston. He asked one question to them. In your institution, you have many departments of knowledge. But where is the department to study the difference between a living body and a dead body? To study what exactly is the missing force when a body dies, what exactly is missing? What is life? So there was silence at the MIT auditorium. So that was none other than the founder Acharya of the Bhaktivedanta Institute, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He saw that the science is very nice. It gives us facilities. It gives us insights into the far-reaching galaxies, as well as deep inside the atom. But today, we still do not know what exactly is life. The Science magazine, one of the top questions it lists that which are still unsolved is about life. What is life? So Srila Prabhupada has started this institution to study about life, our own selves, who are actually we are, both from scientific perspective as well as spiritual perspective. Because like our Deputy Director Sir has told, the interface is very necessary. Because the scientific method, through its very nature, has limitations to understand our very own selves. So therefore, we need to expand the scope of science if we really want to understand the mysteries of life. And a couple of years later, at the Department of Chemistry at University of California, Irvine, Professor Stanley Miller, who was a Nobel laureate, he was giving a lecture about his new discovery of synthesis of amino acids. So people thought that origin of life question has almost solved with the synthesis of amino acids. But there was a student from India in the audience. In the question and answer session, he asked, if I provide you all the chemicals, not even the basic chemicals, if I provide you the macromolecules, macrobiomolecules, can you produce life in the lab? And Stanley Miller replied that I am not sure. And my dear friends, the situation is same even today. We have not manufactured life from scratch in the laboratory. We are copying, we are duplicating and making modifications, but we have not created life still in the laboratory. So the person who asked the question is none other than His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami, Dr. T.D. Singh, who is the founding director of this institution. So Bhaktivedanta Institute's main purpose is to study what is life, what is the meaning of life, what is the meaning of our existence, and what we are supposed to do in this life. To give the knowledge about the distinction of human life, the purpose of human life, Are we fulfilling the purpose of our human life? Suppose if I am a sports person, throughout my life I practice to run faster. I become the first among the whole throughout the world. Is that sufficient? I am a great scientist in a small field. I am very knowledgeable and go deep and make discoveries. This is necessary, but is that sufficient? What are we supposed to do in this life? So at this juncture of this, what is life and what is the meaning of life, what is the purpose of life, Bhaktivedanta Institute organizes this kind of meetings and promotes research to question what exactly we are supposed to do in this life and unearth the treasure of Vedic knowledge that is suitable to be presentation to the scientists and scholars. Our Vedic literature says that the purpose of human life is Athado Brahma Jignasa. You can see it is in the logo of our institute, Bhaktivedanta Institute. The purpose of human life is to inquire about our own self. What exactly I am supposed to do? Why I am here? If there is God, why He put me here and what He wants from me in this life? This question is very important. And if we don't inquire about this question, we may be wasting our human life. Because whatever we do is necessary for our survival, for our satisfying our curiosity. But if this curiosity is not there, human life could be wasted. So Bhaktivedanta Institute, through its various research and dialogues in various disciplines of science and spiritual traditions, we promote this understanding. And in the neuroscience nowadays, ethics is becoming very important, and responsibility. Who is actually responsible for our actions? Is it my brain? Are the neurons? Who actually is responsible? Is a big question in criminal justice. So if we think deeply about it, neurons are not responsible for our actions. Because we can simply blame the neurons for our actions, but we all feel that our actions are beyond neurons. There is something beyond even the neurons. So therefore, some of the deep thinkers of the science, they started realizing that we need new science, new ways of doing science. We need to little bit open up. So far we have been doing very closely in one way, reductionistic way, and experiment and verify. But we need to little bit expand and explore our very core existence, the questions of responsibility, free will, consciousness, and our own purpose of our own life. So Bhaktivedanta Institute also promotes research along these lines, and also there is very good area of research is theistic interpretation of scientific results. Scientific results are there, but the interpretation is always is influenced by the investigator. So how can we interpret the scientific results and synthesize both science and spirituality? So I hope you enjoy these 3 days deliberations, which will be covering some of these areas, and we will be very happy at any time to extend our help. I once again thank you and the dignitaries on the dais for your kind attention. Thank you.
Dhanyavad Swamiji to enlighten us. Moving further, I request our guest of honor, Professor K.L. Chopra, Padma Shri, ex-director, IIT Kharagpur, to present his views on our conference.
His Excellency, the Governor of West Bengal, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We are a scientific civilization, and our health and wealth depends strongly on the use of knowledge power. The power of knowledge is derived from higher education, its conversion, transformation, translation into applications and industry. Now, science by itself is ethics neutral, it's amoral, that is, it only looks for the truth. Whether that's morally correct or not, that's not the business of science. But those who practice science, those who convert science into technology, namely scientists, engineers, technologists, they obviously face this dilemma: what is ethical and what is not ethical. And it turns out that almost all technologies that have been developed always have two sides, partly green, partly red. They're partly ethical, partly unethical. And of course, examples are very well known. You take anything like nuclear energy or space technology, or you take even nanotechnology today, biotechnology, and so on. All of them have very major aspects of both positive and negative feelings. Okay. So in general, this is a serious problem that the world faces today. In fact, among the most serious one today is information technology, which you all use. Indeed, it can create wars among people, among societies today, and it's as I said, it's a very serious concern. And that concern is enhanced considerably by the fact that we are globalized today. We are, well, as they say, globalism, internetism, and consumerism, all the products of science and technology. Anyway, they are the one, if we don't use them properly, we may destroy ourselves. This is a challenge then for all of us to how we use this for our moral and ethical values. The professionals, unfortunately, are caught in the dilemma here because they can justify what they are doing, sometimes unknowingly, sometimes unknowingly, and indeed it may be ethical or may not be ethical. Imagine in the world today, the most frauds in the intellectual property rights as a consequence of course, application of science and technology are happening in a country which you will not even suspect. That's the United States of America. The maximum number of intellectual property right frauds due to patents and of course legal issues there. Well, we are not any different. China and India are just about the largest number of plagiarists in the world today, plagiarizing documents, plagiarizing research publications, and so on. So it's as I said, I can give a lot more examples here, and it's obvious that we have a problem with science, with education and science and technology. Of course, we do know that education, as Mahatma Gandhi said, education without character and science without humility are sins against the society. Same thing has been said by a number of other scientists, and we always quote Albert Einstein, and he says, an unethical student of science is no better than a well-informed, well-trained dog. These are his own words. Okay. I put it a little slightly different. An unethical student in science is no better than a trained dog. And the history of the world civilization shows us that societies have risen to higher heights, not through scientific and technological advances, but by practicing ethical and moral values. This is said by Swami Buddhananda. And of course, our constitution says something. Unfortunately, this constitution, Article 51, is not really known to a lot of people, and should have been known to all the school children, all the educationists and so on, but it's not. So let me quote that. It says, it should be the fundamental duty of everyone, every citizen of India, to develop scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiry and reform. Now, I'm not sure how many of you know about it, but this is what we are supposed to do. Of course, we have a lot of other excellent documents beside the Constitution, excellent documents and the new education policy, for example, but none of these is put in practice anywhere. So we have a problem with science and technology, and we have to ask this question here, what do we do with it? And particularly, what is the connection between science and spirituality, which is the theme of this conference. Science and spirituality, both of them are seeking truth. One is seeking the truth of the universe which is, the science looks for the universe, which is essentially the interaction, a variety of interactions between science, between energy and matter in various dimensions, for example. Of course, the humanity is the idea of the science and spirituality. Both obviously, as I said, they look for they both are seeking truth somewhere. I'm sorry, I have a little problem with my standing. I normally sit down and do that. Human is the, but both of course, science looks for both internally and externally, but spirituality is much. If I can sit down, would be much better. Yes. Philosophy, this spirituality looks for truth inside us. Of course, spirituality has many dimensions itself. There could be religious. Some people believe it as a form of religion. Some believe it as a principle of life, or understanding life, or understanding the inner soul. But as far as the science is concerned, it's a creation of a peaceful mind through exercises, yogic exercises, for example. Okay, and therefore it's intentionally it creates a pure and peaceful mind, and that's exactly what science is required. Therefore, we do have a connection between the two of them. They are compatible with each other, and from all this, it appears very clearly that we have to look for education. We have to encourage education, which produces good character, good morals, and of course, it's consistent with humanism. And this is what the message of this conference will be. And I hope this conference will achieve that aspect among young people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your thought-provoking address, and I apologize for the inconvenience. I now request our guest honor, Dr. B.D. Munram, Managing Director, Simplex Infrastructures Limited, to address the audience.
His Excellency Sri Kesinath Tripathi, dignitaries on the dais, and very learned speakers and scholars in the audience. A very interesting topic we have here, science and spiritual quest. Although I am not a scientist, nor a man well versed in the spiritual literature or our shastras, but as a man, ordinary man from normal walk of life, what I experienced, that I will try to put forward before you in few words. In my childhood, when I started my education, there was a Yajñopavid Sanskar and Diksha. And one word which I heard at that time, a small phrase, which I prayed to the Acharya, Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye. Show me the path of Satya and Dharma. Now the truth, path of Satya. When I asked the Acharya, then he said that there is only one Satya. Eko Satyam Dvitiyo Nasti, and that is Brahma. That is almighty, all-compassing, and from which the entire cosmos and entire world has emanated. And Dharma, he told that what you takes you to Abhyudaya Nisrayas, that means well-being and growth. The purpose of science, I was told in the school that purpose of science is also to take us for growth and for our well-being, and science will tell you the truth. This is what my science teacher told me. And this is what I have been hearing and by what I have been believing so far. And true, the pursuit of science is for truth as well as for our well-being and growth. Science has progressed quite a lot over the last few decades. The science of material, science of energy, and now science is discussing consciousness and relationship of consciousness with other consciousness, as well as at places there is talk of consciousness, energy and matter, and as much as scientists like Professor Goswami, they talk that this universe itself is conscious. What I heard in my childhood, Dharti is Ma, Surya is Pita, universe is conscious and emanated from Brahma. Today, some of the scientists are talking like that. But at the same time, there are some very dangerous trends. Yesterday I was reading in my email that one scientist is trying to replace the head of a person. I used to hear that we have man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, or mind or brain is there. Now when the head is replaced or transplanted, what is going to happen? Similarly, new discoveries and new weapons have put a threat to the existence of mankind. The amount of information and amount of energy which science has given, but at the same time, the ethical values have gone down. Now what we are going to do about that? In our workplace, we find that there is a strife and there is a disharmony. So along with the development of technology, we have to bring in some ethics to bring in better relationship. Otherwise, in this vessel, where so much of energy is being put through by science, it is going to burst. And it will create more havoc to us. Just like when Ravana had so much of more power, with so much of knowledge, but without ethics, created or caused a lot of strife to the world, and Rama has to come and kill him. So similarly, well, what we are going to do about the society and for our young generation. In earlier, we used to get sanskar of ethics as well as values and some bit of dharmic sanskar, religious sanskar, spirituality. That these days is missing from our education and from our families, most of the families too. For this purpose, a system has to be created in our institutions as well as in schools to give sanskar to our children, that whilst they study science, they also have the sanskar. We have also tried in our training and development programs. Whilst we are training and developing the workers and supervisors, we tried to give them some moral and ethical education, and through some spiritual guidance, and we found wonderful results. We will be discussing that much more in the subsequent sessions. But science, along with moral education and spirituality, only then the society can develop and prosper. We know that the society is going to progress through science much more. But at the same time, the quotient of spirituality which is going down from the society, that we have to bring it up, give it more spiritual education to our children to make a better society and better future for mankind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. This is requested to our next guest of honor, Dr. H.P. Kanoria, Chairman and Managing Director, SREI Infrastructure Finance Limited, to speak a few words.
Good morning, Honorable Sri K.N. Tripathi, Honorable Governor of West Bengal, His Holiness Swamiji, respected dignitaries on dais and in audience, brother and sister, dear youth. It is a great pleasure for me to be among you, to have the derivation on the spirituality and science quest. I bow and pay my homage to scientist and saint, Dr. T.D. Singh, His Holiness Bhakti Sharupa Damodar Swami. He was a well-known authority on Vedanta science. Under his leadership, we had organized a conference on the synthesis of science and religion in 1995-96. Spiritual laws and scientific laws exist before discovery. These exist in the cosmic universe. Science has proved that the sum total of cosmic energy is always the same. Sum total of cosmic energy is always the same. So there has been creation at all times. It is all manifestation now. Through the process of perfection, the soul will become a universal consciousness. Through the process of perfection, that means through the process of many deaths, the soul becomes perfect and meet the cosmic energy. Science has proved that physical individuality is a delusion. A body is one little, continuously changing body in an unbroken ocean of matter. Unity is the necessary conclusion of the other counterpart. The soul science of finding unity. Its goal is to reach perfect unity. Chemistry goal is to discover one element out of which others could be made. Physics discovers one energy in which all others are but manifestations. Science of religion becomes perfect when it would discover Him, God, who is one life in a universe of death, Him who is the constant basis of an ever-changing world, one who is the only soul of which all souls are but delusive manifestation. Through duality and multiplicity, the ultimate reality is reached. Religion can go no further. This is the God of all science. God retains this world by single fragmentation of Himself. Manifestation and not creation is the word of science. The picture of my body and your body and all things in this world are only rays of light streaming out of the one sacred light. Albert Einstein, everyone who is seriously involved in the pursuit of science become convinced that the spirit is manifest in the Lord of the universe. The spirit is manifest in the Lord of the universe. To Einstein, science and spirituality were complementary. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. He believed cosmic spiritual feeling provides the motivation in all scientific projects. Cosmic spiritual feeling provides the motivation in all scientific projects. The goal of science and spirituality is happiness for the humanity, welfare for the humanity. So both have to work together. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kanoria. Now I take privilege to humbly invite our guest of honor, His Holiness Sri Nirmalanand Mahaswamiji from Adi Chuncunagiri Mahasamasthan Math, Karnataka, to enlighten us by sharing essence of his valuable thoughts. Thank you. Hari Om Tat Sat.
ब्रह्मानंदं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलं अचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. On the occasion of inauguration of 9th All India Student Conference, I salute the divine soul of His Holiness Jagadguru, Param Pujya Dr. Bal Gangadhar Mahaswamiji, who is my Guru. And also I salute my humble pranams to the founder director of Bhakti Vedanta system, His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swamiji, whose initiative is root cause for all our presence over here. My special greetings to today's chief guest who inaugurated an occasion, His Excellency Sri Kesharinath Tripathi, Governor of West Bengal, and all the monks who are present here and the distinguished guests who are on the august dais, dear speakers and the beloved audience. Today we are present here to discuss about the science and spiritual and to understand more and more about these two topics. Today we are more living in the domain of the science and the modern world. Rightly, this conference is organized for the students as it is mentioned here. The education which we have been learning and being imparted to our students through our universities, when we look at it, the knowledge which we have been giving to our students is it's solving the real problems of our life. We have wonder whether we are getting it or not. Our ancient scriptures would say, and it has given the definition for the education, Savidya ya vimuktaye. This is the smallest definition which we can find across. Education or knowledge is that which is going to give the emancipation, or we should give the liberation from the bondage and from the ignorance. When we look at the kind of education which we are getting through our institutions, we are afraid whether we are getting it or not. Science and spiritual quest, when we look at the topic, science and spirituality doesn't belong to any particular country or particular religion. The way how oxygen is universal wherever we go in the same way, spirituality and the science is not discriminated or cannot be possessed by any particular country or any religion. Always we can understand the unmanifested energy when it tries to be manifested. That projected form or the manifested form, it can be rightly called as a science. The substratum which is there for the existence of that manifested form is the divine or the pure energy of pure consciousness. All our attempt here is to make us understand the substratum, the pure consciousness out of which everything has come into existence. Quite fortunately, we are living in the country which has given such a great sublime thought to the entire universe. As Mark Twain has mentioned quite rightly, India is the cradle of human civilization, and India is the birthplace of the human speeches and the mother of the history, science, spirituality, yoga and the medicine, whatnot, everything. Grandmother of the tradition and great grandmother of the legacy. Being in such a great country, we have been discussing all these things. When Albert Einstein has mentioned that whole world must be grateful to India because they are the people who taught us how to count, means the science and mathematics was taught by Indians, without which no worthwhile scientific discoveries could have been taken place. Also he mentions Bhagavad Gita is that which has made me to form all my theories, scientific theories. When you look at this perspective, we can understand the sublimity of understanding the spirituality. William Blake says the very purpose of life and the way how actually we should move forward. He says, when we cleanse the door of perception, world is going to be seen as it is. The very purpose of getting knowledge and all these things is to cleanse our inner personality, being cleansed which we are going to understand the world as it is without any color. If that is to happen, we should understand our inner personalities. So when we look at the science or when we try to understand the science, only through sensory organs which are projected, whatever the things we are going to understand through these sensory organs, we consider that as the science which will come under that purview. Lord Krishna says, Indriyani paranyahuhu indriyabhyaha paramanaha. Manasastu pare buddhihi yo buddhehe parasastu sa. Dull matter is there, senses are there, sense objects are there, mind is there, intelligence is there, beyond which is a substratum for the existence of all these is also there. As he has mentioned, senses are superior to sense objects and the mind is superior to our senses and our intelligence is superior to our mind, and one more thing is there which cannot be seen. is the substratum and is the supporter of all these things. Our whole effort is to understand that which is not seen, though it is not being seen, it is the root cause for all the seen things of the world. This quest is to understand the one which is there beyond all these things. So, this conference should encourage our young minds to understand the spirituality, which says about the pure consciousness because of which whole world has come into existence. About 13.7 billion years ago, as is known to everybody, this present universe which is being seen has come into existence, and the earth on which we have been living must have come about 4.5 billion years ago. What are the things we have been discussing and trying to understand is the recent innovations in the name of the science. If we can be able to give the spiritual outlook for our young minds, in reality they are going to understand the world as well as their life. If that is to happen, we have to introduce the subject of the consciousness and the spirituality in our academic activities. Then only they will try to understand the science in its reality. So, Science and Spiritual Quest, which is organized by our Bhakti Vedanta system, has been doing really good job. So simple is the consciousness because it is nothing but ourselves. As Steve Jobs has mentioned, simple can be harder than the complex. But we have to strive hard to make it quite simple. It is worth at the end because on reaching there we can move the mountain. Consciousness is nothing but ourselves. If we have to understand ourselves, we have to strive quite hard, which we can say that as a spiritual sadhana. If we can be able to blend these two, science and the spirituality, modern facilities are going to be rejoiced and be used in quite comfortable and meaningful way. Science, as Albert Einstein has mentioned, from its deepest existence, nature manifests herself through beautiful mathematical formulas, physical laws, biological creation, which conveys its hidden symmetry. When we look at the science in the modern world in this perspective, we are going to rightly understand the essence and the necessity of understanding the spirituality. I wish all the best for the conference because key speakers are there who are going to speak on a given topic through which our young mind, youth are going to understand the necessity and the desirability of understanding the spirituality more and more. If you would like to rejoice the comforts which is bestowed by the science. As one of our speakers has quite rightly mentioned, science has given everything. But science can denature the plutonium, as Albert Einstein has mentioned, but it cannot change the wickedness of the human heart. If wickedness to be changed, if you would like to understand our divinity which is within, as Swami Vivekananda has mentioned quite rightly, though problems are several, solution is only one. It is to make understand the divinity which is there within every individual personalities. If we can be able to understand, if we can be able to realize that divinity which is within us, naturally world is going to be seen, world is going to be understood as it is. I wish the best success for the program and all the delegates and the audience who have come here, if they can able to take something essence out of this conference, their life is going to become sublime. Once again, I wishing all the best, beseeching the Lord to bestow the best benedictions upon everybody. I conclude my words. Jai Shri Gurudev.
Dhanyavad Swamiji. Dhanyavad Swamiji. I'm sure each one of us here is feeling richly blessed and spiritually elevated. Now, our Honorable Chief Guest, Shri Keshrinath Tripathi, Governor of West Bengal, will address the gathering. Sir, may I please request to say a few words?
Professor Souvik Bhattacharya ji, the Deputy Director, His Holiness Sri Swami Mahaswami Nirmalanandanathan Ji Maharaj, Professor K.L. Chopra ji, Sri Vasudev Rao ji, Dr. B.T. Mundra ji, Dr. H.P. Kanoria ji, Sri Vijendra Das ji, ladies and gentlemen, and friends of the media. It gives me immense pleasure to be with you this morning at the inauguration of the 9th All India Students' Conference on Science and Spiritual Quest being organized by the Bhaktivedanta Institute, Kolkata. I am delighted to learn that the theme of this conference is the role of spirituality in the age of science and technology. This is the age of science. In fact, scientific developments have gone through a long way to meet the various needs of the society. Many technologies that we possess today were not even conceived by our ancestors, say, about 150 years back. But you will also agree with me that even though modern science has enabled us to understand and solve many problems, it does not have answer to many questions and solution to many problems. There are some fundamental questions like how did the universe originate? How did life originate? What is consciousness? According to a 2005 issue of a famous magazine called Science, these are some of the unanswered questions in modern science. Conflicts at the individual level and at the society level are burgeoning. The principles of morality and ethics, which used to guide the individual and the society, are getting eroded. As a result, the social fabric is becoming weak, and a sharp increase in the number of suicides, domestic and communal violence, unethical and unconstitutional practices at different levels are noticed. Our effort for containing these problems associated with natural calamities in order of magnitude is smaller than what is required for resolving the man-made problems. Pains and miseries inflicted by fellow human beings are more than the natural problems. The question is, what do we do with a nice car, a beautiful mansion, and a huge bank balance unless we are peaceful and stay in harmony with our family and friends? After all, we are human beings and we are endowed with superior mind and intelligence. If these attributes are ultimately used just to meet our basic needs and instincts, which all the living entities from ants to elephants are engaged in, then are we justified to call ourselves human beings? Certainly not. We have to go beyond, introspect, and look for the answers. According to Vedic wisdom, life does not start with the birth of the present body, nor ends with its death. Every individual has a past and will have a future. Life is, in fact, a continuous journey. Most of you are students of teachers and teachers of science. We know very well that the past affects the present and the present decides the outcome of the future. We observe this in physical objects. The way a physical object or system changes with the time depends on the initial condition, boundary condition, and the forces affecting it. It is exactly like this in our lives. Every moment we are creating our future. This is the truth, not only delineated in the scriptures, but experienced by ourselves and verified by thousands of monks and seers since time immemorial. True that the modern science, which focuses on the study of physical objects, is needed. But had the science alone been enough, myriad of problems that the humanity today faces would not have been there. New types of problems are emerging. Ladies and gentlemen, you are first a human being, and you possess a life and many associated attributes that come with the present body and mind it. You have a free will also. You can put it for doing something good for the society, and out of ignorance or sometimes deliberately put it for the wrong use. But you must know that its use dictates your future. There is no escape. At superficial level, it may appear that science and spirituality are contradictory. However, with the sincere pursuit of science with a spiritual dimension and the pursuit of spirituality with scientific outlook gives one a holistic worldview. In this regard, we must recognize that in ancient Vedic India, the conflict between science and spirituality never existed. Many times, thoughts arise in our mind, like, I want to be good and also want to stay good to others, but somehow I cannot control myself. How do I then orient myself amidst hosts of distractions and provocations? I have a strong feeling that adding a spiritual dimension to one's life, one realizes his or her inner potential and becomes aware of one's relationship with nature and society and one's mission of life. Still, you will find impediments and obstacles. You will find great resistance, but these strong knots vanish with good association, willpower, and honest approach. The omnipresent and omniscient Almighty knows the desires and He bestows what are needed to fulfill our mission of life. Every year, thousands of conferences on varied objects from science, engineering, technology, and humanities are organized. Billions of dollars are spent. But tell me, where are the conferences for brilliant students and faculty members like you, where you assemble to discuss the most fundamental questions of your very existence? In that sense, I must congratulate the scientist saint from Manipur, late Dr. T.D. Singh, His Holiness Bhakti Swarupa Damodara Swami, the founder director of Bhakti Vedanta Institute, Kolkata, for this noble initiative. He was a great visionary, scientist, and saint who wanted to see holistic development in our students. He wanted to see and work throughout for a harmonious society. Science and spirituality was his tool to realize this noble objective. I am happy to learn that faculty members and students of IITs, Indian Institute of Sciences, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, other reputed institutions, in association with Bhaktivedanta Institute, are taking this noble mission ahead. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 21, it is said, whatever action is performed by a great man, common men follow in his footsteps, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary act, all the world pursues, unquote. You are all exemplary in different fields. Millions of people look at what you do, and how do you deal with any problems. Towards the end of my talk, I urge on you to always strive for becoming better and better human beings. You all should fine-tune yourself spiritually and scientifically to stay on the right track so that you never go against the human values. Knowledge of the tenets of spirituality and its practice will give you all that are needed for your holistic development as envisioned by the scientist saint Dr. T.D. Singh. You will be able to properly utilize scientific knowledge and house. My thanks to Professor Partha Pratim Chakravarti, Director IIT Kharagpur, and Bhaktivedanta Institute for inviting me to this unique conference. Many thanks to all who are associated with the organization of this conference series. I wish all the best for the success of this conference. My greetings and well wishes to the participants and hoping a pleasing stay here during the conference. With these words, I end my speech. Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much, sir. I am very sure your influencing ideas would guide us to contribute towards the betterment of society. May I now request our chief guest to kindly release the proceeding and souvenir of the conference AISSQ 2015.
May I again request you to kindly release the brochure on correspondence course on science and spirituality. No, this brochure on correspondence course on science and spirituality. Now I feel immensely pleasured in inviting Sri K. Vasudev Rao, President, Bhaktivedanta Institute, Kolkata, for the announcement of correspondence course on science and spirituality offered by Bhaktivedanta Institute.
Good morning to the honored dignitaries on the dais. I am Ram Gopal Uppaluri, Honorary Director for Distance Education on the course curriculum. So we are very pleased to announce that from January 2016, we will be having correspondence courses on science and spirituality. This is an effort that has gone for the past 6 years by the core team of Bhaktivedanta Institute, and it is about 2,000 slides. So it's very exhaustive, and it has brought all the important themes of science spirituality, like origin and evolution of life, cosmology, consciousness, synthesis of science and spirituality, and nature of reality, holistic personality development, ethics and values, and social harmony. So the main purpose of the correspondence course model is that the curriculum is very vast, and the AISSQ conference has been very inspirational for the team to actually put this on place. This 3-day conference, many times delegates ask us questions like we need more systematic discussion to happen. So to enable this type of platform and to have a continuous feedback from the delegate community, the institute has started these courses. So you're most welcome to go through the brochure, and we are always available through all possible methods of communication. We'll be also having some contact lectures at different centers, and we look for your feedback. Thanks a lot.
We are very happy to receive all the dignitaries on the dais. Now, we would like to present mementos to the dignitaries as a token of remembrance and respect. May I therefore request Professor Shovik Bhattacharya to kindly present the memento to our chief guest, Sri Kesrinath Tripathi.
May I again request Professor Shovik Bhattacharya to kindly present the memento to Sri Sri Nirmananda Swami Mahaswami Ji. I now request Sri K. Vasudev Rao to kindly present the memento to Professor K. L. Chopra. May I again request to Sri K. Vasudev Rao to kindly present the memento to Dr. H. Kanoria.
I request Sri Varun Agarwal to present the memento to Dr. B.D. Mundra. May I request Professor Sudipta Ghosh to kindly present the memento to Sri K. Vasudev Rao. May I request Professor Sudipta Ghosh to please present the memento to Shovik Bhattacharya. Thank you all the dignitaries. Moving towards the end of the inaugural ceremony, I invite Professor Sudipta Ghosh, Organizing Secretary AISSQ 2015, to propose a vote of thanks.
Namaskar, welcome everyone. First, I would like to thank Sri Kesharinath Tripathi, Honorable Governor of West Bengal, for inaugurating the 9th All India Students' Conference on Science and Spiritual Quest. In spite of his very busy schedule, he has managed time to be with us for this auspicious occasion. So big hands for his Honorable Governor. And my sincere thanks to His Holiness Nirmalanandanath Mahaswamiji from Karnataka for his very inspiring lecture on this relevant topic on the role of spirituality in the age of science and technology. And I'd like to thank Professor K. L. Chopra, Padma Shri and ex-director of IIT Kharagpur to be present with us and inspire us with his words. And he has been with us several times before, and he keeps our enthusiasm very high by his presence. And often we have many delegates and organizers from IIT Kharagpur, and he will collect them and will say IIT Kharagpur ka tempo high hai. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. B.D. Mundra, Chairman and Managing Director, Simplex Infrastructure Limited, for expressing his views on the conference topic and motivating the young minds on holistic development. A lot of thanks to Dr. Kanoria, Chairman and Managing Director, Shrey Foundation, for the stimulating words and continuous support for the organization of the conference. I am extremely thankful to the IIT Kharagpur authorities, especially our Director, Professor Parthapratim Chakravarti, who is also the Chief Advisor of this conference, for his support, guidance, and constant encouragement. Unfortunately, he had an emergency and today he could not be present here. Then I express my earnest and sincere thanks to Professor Shobik Bhattacharya, who is the Deputy Director of this institute and today he is the Acting Director, for all kind of support and encouragement and guidance to the organization committee and his wonderful welcome address. Some of us, you are seeing in the front, many people around the country and around the world, they have been sincerely and doing the hard work. And I like to mention some of them because in this short time, it is not possible to cover all of them. So our first heartfelt thanks actually goes to the team of the Bhaktivedanta Institute, headed by Sri Pajapati Swamiji and Sri Brajendra Kumar Swamiji, and followed by Sri Anand Shesh Das, Sri Nilambar Krishna Das, Sri Achyut Keshav Das, and many others from the Bhaktivedanta Institute team. And my special thanks to Professor S.C. Mishra, the chairman of this conference, who has been constantly working very hard. And he also had some serious health problem, but in spite of that, he continued. And when actually doctor advised him not to come in Skype, he was actually in tears actually, that he could not come. And my special thanks to Professor Upaluri from IIT Guwahati and Srimati Radha and the supporting team of the conference who have put immense heart, energy, and above all, their pure loving service for the conference. Our sincere thanks to the dedicated team members who sacrificed their time and work and dedicated to the AISSQ conference for several months. Special thanks to faculty and student volunteers at IIT Kharagpur. Volunteers coming from different parts of India, including Odisha, Vijayawada, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Karnal, Varanasi, Kharagpur, Vrindavan, and all members of Bhaktivedanta Institute on wheels. You will see that a bus standing outside. So their charge enthusiasm to take up small and big services during the conference is beyond imagination. Without their dedication and full support, the 9th AISSQ conference would not have been possible. Now this kind of conference definitely requires a huge fund. And this kind of activity neither falls in pure science and technological conference. It neither falls into a pure religious activity. It's also not some kind of social service kind of activity. So definitely it's very difficult to have funding for this kind of activities, and we are extremely grateful towards our sponsors, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, SHIADS, Shrey Foundation, Adi Chunchandgiri Mutt, Simplex, the Vedanta Foundation, Anil Agarwal Foundation, Vedanta, Nitte, and many other sponsors. So, in the end, I definitely like to thank many of the staff members of IIT Kharagpur who provided us help in the last moment. We suddenly need this is required. And they just went out of the way to, actually our register, Mr. Pradeep Pain is here, and they just went out of the way in the last moment to give all kinds of support. In the end, I would like to mention and pay my gratitude to Dr. T.T. Singh, a personality, unique personality who combines science and spirituality. We all have science and spirituality within us in some form or other, every individual. But often it is like the two sides of our brain, the left and the right side. One is emotional and another is the intellectual aspects. And how nicely Dr. Singh actually combined the two major, the driving force in our individual lives and in the society. And that is really very, very unique. And I must pay my homage to the pillars of the modern science, like Newton, Einstein, and many others. The topmost scientists, the majority of them, mathematicians, Heisenberg, like mathematicians like Ramanujan, really, actually, they have laid the foundation of the science and spirituality. Most of us may not be aware that majority of the top scientists and mathematicians are very spiritual and strong believers of God. Lord Kelvin, he says, the science will force you to believe in God. And Heisenberg, such a wonderful statement. He says the initial gulp of water of science tends to make one atheistic. But at the bottom of the glass, God is waiting for you. Max Planck, he says, in religion, God comes in the beginning, but in science, it comes in the end. So definitely, they have laid this foundation on the synthesis of the science and spirituality, and this synthesis is very important in our individual lives. And at the end, I'd like to pay homage to our Vedic saints, as our Honorable Governor pointed out, that in Indian Vedic culture, they were all saints and scientists together. And lastly, I will pray for the blessings of the Almighty and also thank Him for His blessings, because of which the organization of this conference in such a short time was possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Ghosh. May I request you all to kindly stand up at your place for national anthem.
तब शुभ नामे जागे, तब शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तब जय गाथा। जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे, भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे, जय हे, जय हे, जय जय जय